7 days EuroCup in association with
All eyes on Valencia tonight for the third and deciding game of the 7 days EuroCup finals. It's the three-time EuroCup champions Valencia Basket taking on 2010 finalists ALBA Berlin in a do-or-die tie in Spain. Home court advantage proved crucial for the first two games as ALBA Berlin bounced back from defeat in the opening game in Valencia. Forward Will Thomas spearheaded Valencia's offense in a 14-point Game 1 win. Game 2 was an absolute thriller. Peyton Siva's last-second layup forcing overtime, Berlin emerging victorious. A night of drama in store then for the decider, all to play for in pursuit of EuroCup glory. Well, hello and a very warm welcome to Valencia in Spain. Will you join us for the third and deciding game in this exciting final series of the 7 days EuroCup as the home team, Valencia Basket, take on ALBA Berlin. We're at the Pabellón Fuente de San Luis. And here is the arrival of the home team, ALBA Berlin, who prevailed on home court in that overtime thriller. So they will arrive here full of confidence, full of momentum. And they will be looking to continue that momentum to take this EuroCup. And what a legendary figure they have on the sidelines. How crucial will the coaching input be tonight? My name's Ronald McIntosh. I'll be your lead commentator for this game, and alongside us, providing expert analysis and insightful co-commentary, a man who knows all about winning continental hardware here in European basketball, and that man is Joe Arlaucus. And Joe, how important are intangibles like momentum going to be in this third and deciding game?
Ron, pleasure to be here with you. Sorry, I was off mic there for a second, man. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know we were live all of a sudden. Hey, listen, these guys are ready to go. You know, they were a bit nervous. I think the moment was too big for them in Game 1. They're lucky this is a 3-game series and not a Final Four situation. But they got home. They got some confidence. They played a much better game on their home floor. Now they have the undaunting task of going to Valencia, to a place where, man, it is hard to win. They're 11-0. They're only allowing 75 points a game on their home floor. And it's not going to be easy, but they're ready for it. They beat Unicaja by 20 on their home floor in Game 2 in a do-or-die situation. So if anybody can do it, it's them.
So ALBA Berlin, so potent on the court, and what a legendary man they have guiding them. Let's hear from him now.
And the pressure be a point this night, and how do you can take profit of it?
Profit of what?
Of the pressure.
No, the pressure is in both sides. I don't like to talk too much of the pressure or who is going to win. I like to play well, as better as possible, 100% or close to our 100%.
What do you have to do tonight to win?
To play very well, and perhaps Valencia don't play very well.
Thank you very much.
So the legendary coach Aito Garcia with a pithy summation as to what could decide this game. The two teams so evenly matched, and who will the basketball gods favor tonight? It could be as close as that, but Valencia, as Joe has already pointed out, imperious on home court. Sam van Rossum has been exceptional during the course of this final series, and of course they're looking for yet another EuroCup triumph. They've got 3 in the locker already, leading the all-time standings, and they're looking to put more distance between them. Their last finals, remember, wasn't successful when they were turned over by their domestic rivals Unicaja Malaga. But here, with so much momentum on home court and so much experience, including in the wise head of that man and the all-time leader in so many categories, Bojan Dubljevic, well, can they turn it on tonight and secure their fourth EuroCup title? They're looking to bounce back from defeat, but back in the confines of home court, enjoying home cooking, they're a very tough proposition indeed.
Yeah, they are. They have the fans behind them 100%. It's one of the greatest cities in Spain to play in. Valencia, the fans are so behind the team. The team is so into the fans, and you're going to see it here tonight on the court. We talked about it before, 75 points a game they're allowing on their home floor. They have the experience. They look relaxed, but they have a tough task ahead of them, and Aito is a master at these types of situations. So we'll see what he has in store for him. But, you know, you have that two-man game with Van Rossum and Will Thomas, man, the way they play together. Now let's talk to the head coach of Valencia Basket.
Coach, if you could choose one thing to do it perfectly tonight, which would be?
Probably less turnovers. For the rhythm competition, last game we lose the competition for offense rebound, but not for the defense rebound. I think our key disadvantage, probably the turnovers.
Everything seems to be prepared for you to win. How can you use that huge energy without blocking yourselves?
Yeah, we need to play with the things of all the season, of all the EuroCup, but better. All the things we can improve, special things and specific things and global things, but the most important is play with energy and focus.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Energy, focus, hustle, concentration. The game could be decided by those tiny intangible margins, and that is what they are playing for. The 2019 7 Days EuroCup. Not only is that piece of glorious silverware up for grabs, remember the victor also guaranteed a berth in next season's Turkish Airlines. Joe's pointed out the passionate fans clad in orange already in attendance, and what a noise they can make here at this magnificent amphitheater for basketball. The visiting team in already, getting near Ryan, getting familiar with the sightlines, Joe. And of course they played here in game one, but how important is it, how easy an adjustment is it to play on a different court and adjust to those sightlines? The hoop's always 10 feet high, but the sightlines can be so different. Yeah,
the backcourt, the background behind the basket, behind the basketball. But the interesting part of this is ALBA Berlin in game one shot 50%. I think it's 12 for 24 from the three-point line. Didn't shoot as well at home, while Valencia shot 12 for 23, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, in game two. So the visiting team has been the team that's actually shot better from distance, but it's been a game of a series, I should say, of defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds. Everybody talked about Valencia getting 16 offensive rebounds in game one, but no one's talking about ALBA Berlin having 15 in game two, and that's what caused the difference in possessions, the difference in time, and a much more aggressive team in Berlin getting fouled and going to the foul line.
So some of the key players then, Rojas Giedraitis for ALBA Berlin. What a key player he is for them.
Yeah, he had a huge overtime, too. Came out, hit that first. He shot 2 threes in a row, and to start overtime, looked like he wasn't too small for the situation.
And Luke Sigma, my goodness, doesn't he continue to come up clutch every time, in overtime once again. The Swiss Army knife forward, doing it all for his club.
Yeah, but he's got that guy right there to contend with him. Will Thomas has been beating him up down low, playing real. So you got to take that right shoulder. We'll go through it through the rest of the night, but he loves to go over that right shoulder and fade up and hang in the air. And there's the man Dubljevic.
Yep, so leading in so many categories all time, the most in points, the most in rebounds, the most field goals, one of the all-time greats. And then how about this for a matchup in the backcourt? The combo guard Martin Hermansen against Sam Van Rossum, two guys at the top of their game, really full of confidence. And if they can implement their coach's tactics, well, their orchestration could have a key input on this game.
Yeah, Van Rossum's been money man and throughout the whole season, in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and definitely in game 1 and 2. And Hermansen just came alive in game 2. He started to be more active. Both him and Siva became more active, getting to the foul line. That was the key. Only 12 foul shots for ALBA Berlin in the first game, and they had 24 in the second game, or 27 in the second game. They continue to get fouled, and we see Peyton Siva in the lineup. That's going to be huge for them if he's going at 100%.
Most certainly, but his backcourt partner, Stefan Payno, still out injured. So Berlin arriving here as they've been all series long short-handed. For Valencia, well, they come almost full strength, but, well, you see Guillem Vives in the lineup. We were told that he wasn't going to feature, but he is listed, which we have to assume is going to suit up.
that's an interesting call for them. He's a lot of help at the point guard position, but Antoine Diop has done a good job. He's always concerned about his health. He hasn't played much in the last year and a half, but he's done well in the short time that he's played in his first 2 games.
Well, Alba Berlin being introduced to the fans here, and there is no doubt that they are the visiting team, but just look at the energy that they are bringing to these pre-game introductions. They are locked in, loaded, and ready to play.
Yeah, and yet I just saw Clifford there, Dennis Clifford. He's the guy that I think was the key in game 2 because he started off strong, didn't do much. I mean, you look at his numbers, you're like, he's just the big man out there, going around. Ran the court a couple times, got the fast break, got a couple offensive fouls, offensive rebounds, and did exactly what a big man has to do in that type of position. And I think he's going to be the key for tonight's game too, especially in the beginning. I assume Aido's going to start him.
Well, now the house lights get dipped, and the atmosphere will be cranked through the roof as we prepare for the introduction of the other team contesting tonight's do-or-die game in this 3-game series. Valencia Basket about to make their way out onto court. A court that has been such a fortress for them all campaign long.
It's amazing to watch this team play at home. They're so confident. They play at a different level, both offensively and defensively. But it's one thing I said in game 2, Ron, is that the difference between these 2 teams is Valencia is much more comfortable playing at Alba Berlin's pace than Alba Berlin is playing at Valencia's pace. And that's what's going to be the key to the game, I think, for Valencia. Plus, you give them that home court advantage, and that just makes it a little bit easier for them. But this Alba Berlin team, man, they got that youth, that youth that I love, man. I'm 53 years old. I need some of that youth in me a little bit. But it's fun watching these young guys go at it and have a chance to win that title right there, that trophy. Every player's favorite moment right there to be introduced in front of your home fans in the championship deciding game. You just can't beat that energy, that feeling when you're coming out to play.
And now the players exchanging high fives, handshakes, and hugs at half court for the final time before they do battle. 4 10-minute quarters of basketball coming your way, but of course there is the possibility of overtime, and that's what was required in game 2. Peyton Siva's last second layup, forcing it into the extra period where Berlin executed magnificently. It's a terrific atmosphere here in Valencia. And we are just moments away, the 8th time, incidentally, that these 2 teams are facing off in EuroCup competition. And in the rivalry so far, the 7-game series, it's one that is being dominated by Valencia. They lead the series 5-2, but of course the most recent victory has gone in favor of this team. And of course such statistics, Joe, can go out of the window when there is so much riding on the outcome of one do-or-die contest.
Yeah, most of these guys for Berlin weren't even around the last time Valencia beat them, so they're not really concerned about that. That means nothing. Once that ball's thrown up, all the statistics, all the things, even game 2 is pretty much forgotten about. You're still trying to base things in this game based off of game 1 and 2 as the 2 coaches will be doing strategically. But the whole thing is, it all changes once that ball goes up and it's just ready to go at it.
Alba Berlin looking to become the first German team to lift the EuroCup trophy. Valencia in pursuit of their 4th EuroCup title, the most by any team ever. Of course, Rafa Martinez in search of his third crown, as we see the starting five: Peyton Siva, Hermansen, Giedraitis, Sigma, and Clifford, the starting quintet for the visiting team.
They don't even have the word center put up anymore for the big man. Ron, what's going on in basketball?
It's officially extinct, Joe. It's like the dodo.
It's one thing to offensively take the big man out of the game, but not to even put up his title.
The designation no longer exists.
What's going on here?
Big body. Maybe they couldn't fit big body in beneath the name. It's Van Rossum and Vives, the backcourt for Valencia. Aito Garcia.
Toby getting the start, who had a tough game in game 2. He fouled out quickly, only 7 minutes on the floor, and he had so much energy in game 1, so they're going to need him right off the bat here, especially against Clifford, who's a big body down low. Doesn't do a lot, but he's effective in the little time that he plays.
Mike Toby watched the 2017 final from the stands. He signed for Valencia Basket, but after the EuroCup deadline. So when they were battling against Unicaja Malaga, Mike Toby couldn't take any part in the series, and perhaps that's why he had all that abundance, that excess of energy, because he was so keyed up ahead of this series, talking about how he wanted to get out there and make an impact. And now he finally gets that opportunity during the course of this series.
And he's going to want to make an impact tonight, especially after game 2. He picked up that 4th foul early in the middle of the third quarter, and before they can get him out of the game, he immediately picked up the 5th, and that was it. He was gone. So they didn't have a chance to rest him and get him back into the game. So I'm sure he's rearing to go. He's been waiting since Friday night for this game, just like I have, actually.
I think all basketball fans of this competition have been waiting impatiently for this moment to arrive. Resplendent in orange are the Valencia faithful. And despite the fatigue that the players will be feeling, they'll have so much energy coursing through their veins now in anticipation of this opening tip. But of course, it's that difficult equation that all elite athletes try to find the balance in. You've got to have fire in the heart and ice in the veins. Can they get that balance right? Come out, play with intensity, but also play with controlled intelligence.
Yeah, it's all about composure right now in these types of games. You can't make any mental mistakes. Every little detail is what wins and loses the game. The loose balls, the 50-50 balls I talk about all the time, are key. Every team wants to get those 50-50 balls, and you put your body on the line to go after them. Got the chills over here, Ron. I'm getting all excited. I love this. The only thing better than playing is sitting here commentating the game with you.
So here we go then. The opening tip is up. And ultimately it is controlled by the home team. Vives, who was listed as injured, in action. He's the one who caught the tip. And now Valencia into their half-court set. Movement around the perimeter. Ball in the hands of Van Rossum. Now it's down on the wing. The Euro step. Will Thomas, short corner. Rattles around the rim. And it's Giedraitis with the board. First trip down the floor, Valencia come up empty.
They have a great movement, though. They like that offense. They love to move and penetrate and find the open man. Thomas had a good shot.
So Clifford moving it around to Siva. Now it's in the low post, Sigma. He's defended by Thomas at the elbow, Hermansen, and he knocks it down. He's continuing the red-hot form that he demonstrated in game 2.
That's Aito at his best right there, posting up Sigma and having Hermansen set the back pick for Brian Clifford to get himself free at the foul line.
So broken up on the inside, transition opportunity. Peyton Siva off to the races, and the man who got the last-second layup to force overtime gets a transition score for Alba Berlin.
Yeah, and that comes off of their defense again. That's the way they like to run. Clifford with a nice block shot in the middle of the lane, and Sigma with the quick outlet pass to Siva for the easy 2.
Van Rossum, loosely guarded by Siva. Picks up his dribble, he puts it down into the low post to Thomas. He's immediately double teamed, but too aggressive in the double team was Giedraitis as he came over to apply the pincer movement. Hand caught in the cookie jar, first foul.
Yeah, but you see what they want to do right off the bat. You're seeing that their Sigma's playing in front of Will Thomas. They're going to make him lob it out to the foul line and the weak side help. And then you see the nice block by Clifford earlier. And easy basket, but you see what they're doing to get Thomas down low. And there's a travel right off the bat by Toby down low. Tell you, Alba Berlin's coming out the looser team right now.
Oh, certainly. Valencia looking a little bit tight. 3 trips down the floor, still no points on the board. Minute and a half gone in this do-or-die game. Giedraitis wheels his way into the lane, dances around on the rim, and he pumps his fist as the ball drops through the basket for his first points of the game.
Yeah, they're getting points in the paint. They're starting off in the paint, which will open up the 3 later in the game.
Van Rossum on the drive. He goes by Siva after showing middle and driving baseline. Siva called for his first foul.
Yeah, you know what, Ron? I think one of the most important stats from game 1 to game 2 were the amount of fouls that ALBA Berlin picked up. In the first game, it was only like 12 fouls that they picked up. In the second game, it was 29. And that's the difference. They're more active offensively.
So Van Rossum rotates the basketball into the lane. Lots of contact down low. And Clifford with his second rejection of the night.
And that's what the big man does. Put the center word up for him, will you? Put his position up. Come on, even the big man got to keep a title. He's in there for a reason.
Mike Tobey getting pinned against the glass. Clifford really active on the defensive end to begin this game. Just over 2 minutes gone. Siva pounding the rock at the point. Finds Giedraitis. Ball down to the corner. Hermansen for 3. That's been rejected in the corner. Terrific hands by Guillaume Vives.
Yeah, great defense by Vives, picking up that corner, knowing that Hermansen will shoot that shot. You got to get up on top of the shooter.
So Vives defended by Hermansen. Big screen set by Dubljevic from the corner, from the wing rather. Van Rossum off. Big rebound on the inside by Tobey, excuse me. It's Mike Tobey who hauled in that board. Thomas now looking to work on Sigma. Ball rotated rapidly around the perimeter. Vives for 3, in and out, and still Valencia Basket approaching 3 minutes gone in search of their first score. Siva is almost out of control. Clifford bails him out.
Yeah, they got lucky right there to keep that up. A good defense up by Berlin. Valencia's not making the shots.
Oh, beautiful move down the lane. Cutting without the basketball was Dennis Clifford, and he was found by Hermansen to rock the rim for his first 2 points. What an impact he's having in the early stages.
I don't want to be that guy that says, I told you so, Ron, but, you know, I'm telling you, the big man is important to this team, especially early.
Pulling up off the dribble, back iron on the shot, rebound Siva, and Valencia have started this first quarter stone cold from the field. Siva for 3, count it. And in stark contrast, ALBA Berlin are shooting the lights out here on enemy territory.
But maybe you need a timeout if you're Valencia. You just let your team play through this. It's an 11-0 run to start this thing with 4 minutes in. You haven't scored yet.
Vives trying the alley-oop, and even that is broken up. Last touch by ALBA Berlin, the deflection a crucial one. 3 minutes, 49 seconds gone, and we are seeing wholesale changes for Valencia Basket. The alley-oop attempted, but off the mark.
Yeah, and it's a Clifford again with a nice hedge on defense, getting out, stopping the penetration, and then still getting back for that alley-oop play also. So Clifford is so active here as they go to the bench quick. Clifford, he's tired, man.
He's put in a big shift in the opening. Practically 4 minutes of this game. Checking into the game, Landry Noko. And ALBA Berlin, from their point of view, they will want to maintain this energy and this dynamism that they've begun this first quarter with.
What an out-of-bounds play right there. Oh, they've been doing it the whole series.
Approaching 4 minutes gone, and Valencia get their first bucket on the board. They trail by 9. Inside, Sigma turns into Dubljevic. Dubljevic comes down with the rebound.
Yeah, nice defense by Dubljevic getting back right there, but ALBA Berlin looks good offensively.
Van Rossum picks up the dribble. Down into the low post, Dubljevic working on Landry Noko. Back out to nobody, sailing beyond the logo. And Dubljevic immediately offering that hand of apology for the turnover.
Yeah, it's a couple turnovers right off the bat. That's what they talked about earlier. 19 turnovers in game 2. That's something that they have to prevent. The only score we've seen so far is that quick out-of-bounds play.
So Hermansen, defended by Van Rossum, the marquee matchup that we talked about in the backcourt. Landry Noko beneath the baseline, gets it to Sigma. He looks for 3, that's off left. Fighting for the board was Saibu, but last touch by ALBA Berlin.
Yeah, Saibu only played 2 minutes in game 2, but had 2 huge fourth quarter free throws that got his team back in the game right before the end of regulation, and had a nice little spell for Siva to get some rest.
So Saibu picking up Van Rossum full court. Making life a little bit more difficult to get over the halfway line. Dubljevic in 3-point territory. Pulling up for 3 after dribbling left, but off the mark.
Matt Thomas is one of the best shooters around. You got to get out on him.
Dubljevic with a terrific offensive rebound, dribbles his way out of the double team. Van Rossum has picked up the dribble, mismatch down in a low post, and Hermansen just a sneaky nudge in the back of Dubljevic.
He had a little, man, look, he's giving a little pat on the back to Dubljevic because he knows it really wasn't a foul. He's like, come on, big man, don't sell it that, man. I'm not that strong. But Dubljevic, that's a veteran move right there, picking up that foul. That's the third team foul on Alba Berlin, but, you know, more aggressive. When you get fouls, it means you're more aggressive defensively.
So Van Rossum, defended by Saibu. Ball goes to the wing. For Dubljevic on the inside, Landry-Noko, and he wrestling down low. Terrific offensive board again, and how many times has he done that during his prolific career?
Yeah, and Dubljevic, you got to keep him off the boards. He's so good. He smells where the ball's going. And Noko's got to keep him off the boards.
Catch and shoot from Giedraitis. My goodness, his feet barely touched the ground. Like a cat on a hot tin roof, just elevated and dropped home the three.
He did that in overtime the other day. You know he's capable of doing it, but it's so hard to stop because it's so quick.
Van Rossum, Saibu putting his body on the line. There's a whistle and it's an offensive foul. And the Valencia coach, while he's making his feelings known, so too is Sam Van Rossum. Because an offensive foul called against the point guard supreme.
You know, it's guys like Saibu and Johannes Thiemann that come into this game and they play. That's a great play. It's a great defensive play and a nice call by the referee. But it's Saibu, Thiemann, the guys that walk into this game that play so intense defensively that help the offense for Alba Berlin.
Hermansen picked up by Van Rossum, who was called for that offensive foul. Looking for a screen from Landry-Noko. Down to the corner, Saibu for three, off the mark, ball still in the air. And it will be end-line possession for Valencia Basket. Terrific start to the game by Alba Berlin.
Yeah, offensively, they've been just on fire. The spacing is what I like so much. When they get over the half-court set, you'll see how much space they have, especially around that Turkish Airlines area, all in the zone. We'll see, we'll check on that as we go move on.
So the drive, Fernando San Emeterio drawing the foul. If that's on Giedraitis, that'll be his second.
That's a big number right there. That's Giedraitis. You got to get him out of the game with 3:46 to go, and he's going to the bench. Yeah, that's definitely his second foul right there. So that he'll be off to the bench for a while because you just can't get that third foul here before half.
It's been a strong start from Rojas Giedraitis. 5 points on perfect shooting from the field. To the free throw line goes Fernando San Emeterio. 85% from the stripe this season.
12 foul shots in game 2. He got fouled 9 times and went to the line. That's what he does best. He loves to use that body kind. He's like that Nando De Colo type player, you know, that knows how to find the contact, get to the basket, and get his shot off at the same time.
10 of 12 from the free throw line in his 16-point haul in game 2. Can't make the second.
I'll tell you, Ninoko's got to box out Dubljevic. He's trying to out-jump him, and Dubljevic is too smart for that. He uses his body too well.
Upstairs it goes. That's a nice catch, but an ambitious alley-oop. Now using the dribble. Oh, slicing his way around the halo to get to the cup, but then blew the layup.
Yeah, he slipped, I think. It was more like a slip to get around Dubljevic. He didn't know he was that open.
So San Emeterio has picked up the dribble. He offloads. Balde. Nice offload from Dubljevic from the corner. Matt Thomas, and he buries it. Matt Thomas finding the range on his second three-point attempt.
That's a shooter right there. Uses that pump fake just to hesitate the defender 1 second. Just to give himself enough time to get that open three.
So Siva, inside it goes. Nice backdoor pass off the bounce. And it's Alba Berlin possession. Feet may have been involved.
Yeah, big man Ninoko's got to finish these plays. He's had trouble all 3 games so far around the basket. His hands are just not where he needs them to be right now. He's not possessing the ball quick enough to get it back up again. That was a good pass. It's a little bit low, but still, big man's got to make that catch and put it up quick.
So 8 seconds. Noko with the catch. Is he aware that the clock is ticking down? It's now in the red. Peyton Siva probably going to have to jack. He uses quickness, gets inside 3, pulls the trigger, and the rebound hauled in. Valencia in transition.
Yeah, Valencia trying to run some defense into offense now, but Alba Berlin's got that nice transition defense going.
Dio. Dubljevic, nobody on him, but he blows the jump hook from beneath the dots.
Sometimes you're so wide open, you don't know what's going on. But they're doing a great job of getting that middleman cut to the basket and rotating quickly, Alba Valencia.
Peyton Siva pulls up for three. Back iron on the shot. Rebound Valencia there off in transition. Joantoine Dio. Oh, so going, and it's a blocking foul that's called against Peyton Siva.
And I think that's Siva's first foul right there. Or was that his second foul? That could be Siva's second foul. Going for that offensive foul. He definitely moved his feet at the last second. Plus, you know, after getting the offensive foul called earlier and the coach is arguing about it, yeah, that's definitely a second foul. So they got some foul issues early in this game, and right now they're getting a little bit cold, and Valencia's not able to make that run that they want. Dio will go to the line for two.
Perfect from the free throw line this campaign, Antoine Dio. 6 of 6 so far coming into this game. He was 2 of 2 from the stripe for his only 2 points of the game in game 2.
He's played well, though. You know, you didn't expect much out of him because he's been out of the lineup for so long, but he's actually put some good quality minutes for Valencia, especially with Vivas injured.
So Valencia currently on a 6-0 run to make this a 2-possession game. They're down 4. That's a tough catch on the inside for Niels Gaffay. Foul is called as he's bumped from behind by Aaron Dornikamp.
They did this so much in game 2, especially in the second half. They just tried to post up Gaffay. He's a good post player for his size, and he gets position quick, but they set that play up so they know it's coming. And Dornikamp was just a little bit late. Dornikamp had a tough time with it on Friday night also.
So less than 2 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Ball move rapidly around the perimeter. It's there for Gaffay, who works the dribble, looking for the screen from Landry-Noko. Pulls up at the foul line. That's a tough shot attempt. Rebound secured by Matt Thomas. Valencia in transition.
Yeah, and a little bit of a risk here with Siva still on the court with 2 fouls, trying to finish him out at least in his first quarter, but you don't want him to pick up that third.
Dubljevic squares up on Landry-Noko before working. Oh, beautiful spin move, and then the jump hook. That is delightful. A low post clinic being run by Bojan Dubljevic.
Old school right there. Nice move to the baseline with a little jump hook.
Aggressive drive. Now there's a whistle on the play. The Valencia fans up on their feet because they thought Peyton Siva was rejected, but unfairly so, illegally so. Too much contact on that drive from Antoine Dio.
And that's the Peyton Siva that you like to see. In the first game, he wasn't aggressive offensively. Only picked up 2 fouls and shot 2 free throws in the first game. The second game was a different story. Picked up 9 fouls and got to the foul line a whole bunch. Statistically, he had a better game in game 1, but he did so much more for his team in game 2 to win the second game.
So Peyton Siva to the free throw line, 81% from the stripe this season. 7 of 9 from the free throw line in that game 2, and just look at that footwork down in the block journey.
Yeah, you feel that contact. That's what a big man likes to do. That's why you see a lot of bumping going on all the time, Rob, because a big man loves to feel that contact. Once he feels it, he knows where he's going, baseline to the middle. Will Thomas is good at finding that contact too. So you have to release him, but Dubljevic is so close to the basket there. Look at the old vet trying to get his team up and ready to go.
Those free throws from Peyton Siva stemming an 8-0 run that Valencia used to bring themselves back to within 2. They're currently down 4 on the drive. Lots of contact, but the finish still made on the drive from Matt Thomas.
And when he starts getting to the basket, you know you're in trouble because he'll stick the 3 in a second. So you can't let him get to the basket also.
Hermanson for the screen from Landry-Noko. Dubljevic helping out. Hermanson's picked up his dribble. He's had a double dribble. Nothing called after you put the ball down. Pulling up. Oh, that's a tough J from Tim Schneider. My goodness, top of the key. Shot clock ticking down. He still made it.
Yeah, you know, if you're Valencia, you just got to be happy with the defense you played right there. The guy just made a good shot.
Laberie rotates the basketball to Dornikamp. Now it's in the hands of Dio. Into the block, terrific footwork, but Dubljevic still retains it. Matt Thomas wide open, count it. Matt Thomas hits his second 3 of the night in the opposite corner from his first to move to 8 points in the game. So, first quarter ticking down, Valencia back to within 1. Shot clock has been turned off, and they get a steal. Can they beat the quarter buzzer? They pull up for 3. Back iron on the shot. And at the end of the first quarter in this do-or-die Game 3 in the 7 days EuroCup final, Valencia have battled their way back to within 1. They trailed by as many as 11 after they didn't put a point on the board until practically 3 minutes had elapsed. But at the end of the first 10 minutes, it's Valencia Basket 17, ALBA Berlin 18. So the highlights then from the first quarter where ALBA Berlin made a terrific start.
Hey, Ron, everybody tells me you're the man in boxing, right? You're the boxing announcer. Now, I mean, how do you analyze this first quarter? Because you have to think that Valencia really took a few punches, man. They took some nice uppercuts. They took a couple nice jabs, but they came right back at them.
Most certainly, and that can be worrying if you're the guy that's been doing all of the offense and they weather it and still come back to a quarter of the way through the contest, they're right back in it. That can be a little bit disconcerting. Let's see how ALBA Berlin deal with it, because they came out strong.
Mentally disconcerting and physically disconcerting also, because you gave them everything you had there in the first quarter. You just couldn't run away with them. You had them at 14-2 at one point, and you just couldn't move away.
But ALBA Berlin started terrifically. Dennis Clifford so active on the defensive end, but that was the final bucket of the first quarter. Matt Thomas finding his second 3 of the night. The 2 3-pointers that Valencia have made have come from Matt Thomas, who has been lethal from downtown all season long, 46% from the stripe, and he's found his groove here tonight.
Yeah, and he's already on 8 points this evening. You got that penetration also. Like I said, when you have a 3-point shooter that starts to get to the basket, it's even more dangerous. Remember, the 2 shots he made, the first one was from the corner where he faked the pass off, bought himself just enough time. But the key to this team has been the change they made at about 14-2 when Dubljevic came into the game. Van Rossum got a little bit more active offensively. Labary came in. And right now, they got it moving and going into the second quarter. That's what they needed. They didn't want to be down too many at the end of the first. And even though ALBA Berlin got out quick, it's gotten back into the Valencia pace of game where they want to be.
So the second quarter underway. It's a 1-point game here in this Game 3 decider between Valencia and ALBA Berlin. The 7 days EuroCup trophy up for grabs. Sickman, I'm assuming that was a pass, but it was way off the mark. Turnover to begin the second quarter by the visiting team.
Yeah, they tried to run that play for the young guy, for Franz Wagner, the little 17-year-old this time, who just checked into the game.
So Dio working the dribble, shadowed by Hermansen. Dubljevic catching with the shot clock in the red, and he buried the 3. And Valencia take their first lead of the night. They go up by 2 off the 3 from Bojan Dubljevic.
He's had wide open threes he's missed the whole series. That one was falling to his left, and he drills it.
So Hermansen fakes with the jab step, pulls up for 3, backhand on the shot. Luke Sikma offensive board, back out to Hermansen, another bite of the cherry for ALBA Berlin. Hermansen almost dribbled it off his glutes. He gets it to Sikma, who's working on Labary. Shot clock in the red from the high post. Off the backboard. Did he call that, Johannes Thiemann?
It counts no matter what. I don't know if he called it, though. There's no way you call that, but Thiemann is huge. Watch him defensively. He's so good, especially on pick and rolls and helping out on shooters.
So we are tied for the first time since the opening tip. ALBA Berlin ran away with it in the early stages. That's a beautiful wraparound pass, and Matt Thomas turning that into a 3-point layup. His second 3-pointer of the game from that spot. His 3rd overall for the night.
Well, what they're doing is they're trying to stop Dubljevic from cutting down the middle, and what happens is you leave Thomas open on the weak side.
Nice recovery. The ball picked up by Wagner, but then it's another turnover. Johannes Thiemann coughing the ball up. Valencia in transition. Matt Thomas giving it to Dubljevic for 3. Front rim on the shot. Poked away. Terrific activity on the inside from Aaron Dornikamp.
Yeah, good. Valencia's all over the place right now. They're starting to feel it. They didn't get off the bus very awake, but they're up now.
So into the low post, Niels Gaffay looking to back down his defender into heavy traffic. Stop and pop, short on the shot. Labary with the defensive board.
Valencia's in their sauce right now, man. They're feeling it. They're playing defense every time down, trying to convert it in offensively. Dubljevic missed that 3, which would have been huge.
Thiemann defending Dubljevic. Hermansen down with the double team. Ball move rapidly around the perimeter. Oh, beautiful offload. What delightful ball movements around the horn before the dump down to Labary and the clever bounce pass to find Bojan Dubljevic, who rocks the rim with a 2-handed jam.
Yeah, we talked about Berlin spacing before, but you saw it right there for Valencia. They're so good at feeding each other, the big men are. You've seen throughout this series, it's been Lavery and Dubljevic and Toby feeding each other, especially when one guy gets the ball in the middle, the other one cuts to the baseline. Look at the ball movement.
Absolutely delightful, and what a beautiful touch pass. Dubljevic cutting to the bucket, and boy, did he enjoy that. He gives Valencia their largest lead of the game.
And don't tell anybody, Ron, but they didn't dribble the ball. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? You know, everybody thinks now you got to dribble the ball to score. They did 5 passes without a dribble.
Ball will always move faster through the air than the defender. Even the quickest point guard can't move as quickly as the Rock through the stadium night air. Timeout called by Coach Aito. His team trailing by 5, the largest deficit they faced so far. Let's listen in.
And if he penetrates in the second problem, somebody who will help me here and help me here. After. We play. When you pass the ball here, you up, come in the middle, to make the space here. Or come in the middle to come back and to play, hold. Okay? Go, vamos. Let's go.
Good timeout right there by Garcia, but you're looking at this and you're seeing Valencia beginning to run away with this game a little bit, but as we're looking at the stats, Ron, I see their 2 main men in this series so far, Sam Van Rossum, 0 points in 6 minutes, and Will Thomas, only a shot between them. Van Rossum has missed 2, and Will Thomas has missed 1 from the 2-point area, but not very active. They're 2 top players, and that's a positive thing for them, even up 5.
You mentioned on the way in that they possess match winners all over the court, guys who are capable of making an impact on the game. It's been quiet so far for Will Thomas and Sam Van Rossum. And Tiemann, oh my goodness, that appeared more in than out, but it has dropped out.
Oh, man,
and the basketball gods favoring Valencia in this passage of this deciding game.
That was a great play because Valencia went into a 1-3-1 zone right there, and ALBA Berlin picked it up quick.
So beneath the free throw line, Will Thomas, short corner, back iron on the shot. Luke Sigma with the board, he's pushing hard to the far side. Hermansen, Sigma looking to set a screen, now he curls out, fades out to the wing. Tough one-handed teardrop attempted. Johannes Tiemann fighting for the offensive board on the inside. He's called for the foul.
Yeah, but give Diot the credit right there, the defense that he has on Hermansen. Hermansen the other day was getting to the basket every time. He was getting into the lane, getting that shoulder, as we see the unfortunate miss right there by Tiemann. He thought that ball was in. But again, I said they went into like a 1-3-1 defense right there, a little matchup defense, and ALBA Berlin read it quick, but great defense by Diot against Hermansen, not letting him get to the basket.
So Dio offloads. In the hands of Sastra. Oh my goodness, how about that? Off the run, the floater from Johan Sastra to put his team up by 7.
Did he want to shoot that, Ron? It looked to me like he wanted to pass that. It looked to me like he was more looking to dish that up. I don't know. He had his eyes set on the basket. I don't know if he's going to think about alley-ooping it to Lavery right there. But nonetheless, that's 2 points. It counts, just like the backboard by Tiemann. He's not gonna beg for it.
So approaching 4 minutes gone in the second quarter. ALBA Berlin have just put 2 points on the board so far. Sigma bouncing it off his foot, and where ALBA Berlin were getting all of the breaks, perhaps created by their aggression and activity in the first quarter, we're seeing a turn of the tables here because nothing's going their way so far in this second.
Nothing's happened. Nobody cut to the basket runners. Sigma's getting the ball down low. Guys are getting the ball down low, but there's nobody moving. They've had some unfortunate missed layups like Tiemann, but you don't see any continuity within the offense, and that's the issue that they're having.
So Valencia Basket outscoring them 10 points to 2 in this quarter so far. Lavery defended by Sigma. Now it's in the hands of Sastra. Baseline drive. Didn't get the roll on that occasion. But Giedraitis, did he touch that last? No, it is ALBA Berlin ball.
Yeah, you gotta like Sastri's move right there. Also, he went to the basket hard after making that last one. You got Giedraitis out there right now with 2 fouls. Siva sitting on the bench. Well, Siva's out there now, but you got to be careful with both of these guys because picking up that third foul this early in the third quarter, or in the second quarter, is going to sit them out for this and parts of the third quarter.
So Sigma playing point forward, loosely guarded by Labrie. Siva orchestrating things from the point. Van Rossum sliding beneath the screen set by Thiemann. Labrie fronting Luke Sigma. Ball comes to the other side. Saibu, shot clock in the red. Sigma's going to have to pull the trigger on what is a tough shot. Now, is a foul being called?
Is that a 3-second call again, maybe, or is that...
Alba Berlin completely out of sync so far. The shot clock was in the red and they were nowhere near in position to get a good look at the bucket, and they've committed a turnover.
Yeah, it's like they're playing handball out there. Everything they're doing right now is based around the three-point line, just moving around the three-point area, not getting any cuts. Nobody got through the middle of the zone so far to break that defense of Valencia.
Well, what a turnaround we're witnessing here. Nice catch in heavy traffic by Dubljevic. He kicks it out. Will Thomas fakes the three, steps back to three-point territory and buries his first bucket of this deciding game. He gives his team a 10-point lead, and what a delightful individual move it was. The step-back three drained from the corner.
Beautiful step. You step back with him, Ron. I got to get out of your way.
Giedraitis with the tough floater. Johannes Thiemann with a crucial offensive board. Peyton Siva off left. Luke Sigma with a towering offensive rebound. Aaron Dornikamp called for the foul.
What do you do if you're Alba Berlin right now? Because, first of all, nothing's dropping. But the problem is you're seeing a team that's trying to get back into this game on every possession, and that's not the way to get back into the game. Get back into the game is being aggressive offensively. Every possession has to result in something positive, not just shooting up a shot, a three-pointer. Get to the basket, get fouled, get to the foul line, try to get yourself a couple free throws with the clock stopped. That's the way you chip away at leads.
Well, currently they're facing a double-digit deficit for the first time in the game. They're being outscored 13 points to 2. As Siva looks for three and buries it.
Or you just do that.
Yes, indeed. A fewer swings of the axe required if you can hit that three ball. Josh Saibu called for the foul. That'll be his first.
Yeah, that three helps. So, I mean, if you got a guy like Siva taking a wide open three like that, you have to take that shot. That's going to give you a little bit more defensive intensity now on the other side of the floor, but you have to make some stops here. Valencia's getting the ball into the paint too easily, converging that defense in Berlin.
So that three-pointer from Siva stemming a 10-0 run. Doing all Valencia Basket in this second quarter so far. We're beyond the midpoint now. And Alba Berlin have put just 5 points on the board. Dennis Clifford called for the foul.
Yeah, I mean, that's just not a good foul by the big man right there. You got him a little bit away from the basket. D him up, put your body on him. If you're going to follow him good when he's trying to make a move.
An eternity for the three-pointer to be contemplated and connected. The downtown bomb drained by Fernando San Emeterio, and his team up by 10 once again.
Trading threes isn't going to get you into the game, that's for sure.
Sigma working on Thomas. Dubljevic comes with a double team. Dennis Clifford beyond his shooting range. Gives it back to Sigma, who fakes the three and then draws the foul on Will Thomas.
Yeah, again, that's just poor defensive or offensive decisions on Berlin. You have Clifford and Sigma playing on the same side of the ball, on the same side. So that gives Dubljevic all the time in the world to go and help, because Clifford sitting outside the three-point line isn't going to harm you offensively. He's got to cut to the basket, get Siva over there in his plays.
Saibu gives it to Sigma. He's defended by Thomas. Giedraitis wheeling and bouncing down close to the bucket before ending up by the three-point line. And again, shot clock in the red. Alba Berlin really not in a position to shoot from where they were. Poor spacing, out of sync.
Poor spacing, but great defense, too. They're just not getting a good look. They're running that flex cut a lot. They did that in the first couple of games also. Giedraitis makes a great cut, gets the ball a little bit past the basket in the lane. And what happened was Van Rossum D'd him up so well that he didn't give him a chance to turn and look. So they get another 14 seconds here. Let's see if they can get a good shot off before it gets in the red.
Siva being forced left, screen set by Clifford. Dubljevic helping out. Siva using that quickness, getting to the top of the key, bounce pass to the corner. Saibu back iron on the three-point shot, and it's another case of one and done. San Emeterio with the board.
Then you're going to give Siva that shot all day long. He was 6 for 27 this year from three-point line. If you're going to let anybody hurt you from out there, it's him.
Thomas drives, kicks to the top. Matt Thomas for three, and Matt Thomas is moving around the clock face of the three-point line. He's hit from one corner, he's hit from the opposite corner, and now he's hit from the top of the point, and he has buried three-pointers from different spots on the floor. Valencia Basket threatening to run away with this one. Timeout on the floor, and they lead by 13.
When Thomas gets it rolling like this, you just can't stop him. And you know, if you're sitting at home watching the game, the first thing you think of, even us as commentators, like, how can you leave him alone? Let's listen to Valencia's timeout here.
Hey, Will, you down. Dubi. Matt, Fernando. Ball or dribble. Fernando Will strong side. First ball is 2-1-2. And third moment is match up. Man to man. ¿Vale? Esta defensa. Ok, sí. Match up. Match up. Es switch. Cambia todo. Cambia todo. Hey, ready. 1-3-1. 2-3. Okay, and man to man. Hey, you put out your ball with a one pair. One pair.
Well, the Valencia fans absolutely buoyant here in response to what they're witnessing from their home team. It was a slow start. They were rather subdued, but what a turnaround Valencia Basket have produced. Down by 11 before they put a basket on the board. They battled their way back to be down by 1, and they have dominated the second quarter so far to the tune of 19 points to 5. Yes, ALBA Berlin, the second most potent offense in the EuroCup, have been held to just 5 points through practically 7 minutes of play in this second quarter.
Yeah, right now they're going to try to change things up. They go 1-3-1, and they get a quick steal right off the point and an easy basket from Matt Thomas.
Matt Thomas, after the pocket was picked, picking up the trash and streaking down court to move to 16 points in the game. He's hit 4 3-pointers from 3 different spots on the court. And Valencia Basket are lighting up ALBA Berlin. There's another giveaway. Antoine Dio gives it to Matt Thomas, who gets to the glass and finishes. Practically 4 3-points in quick succession. Their defense is reaping huge dividends in terms of steals.
And they went to the 1-3-1, and then they went to the 2-3 as the coach called in the timeout, and both of them with steals at the top. No need for that for Berlin. It's poor execution.
Oh, a deep throw. Oh, my goodness. Well, Peyton Siva taking matters into his own hands because of the points that have been scored this quarter. 6 of them have come from 3-pointers. And then a fast break dunk from Rojas Giedraitis.
Good timeout here by Valencia. And this is what I talk about all the time, Ron. The last 2 minutes of each quarter are pivotal to any team right now. The run that Valencia just made, and it wasn't even a run. They didn't even work hard for that run. Berlin just handed it. The 2 balls at the top, one by Dion, the other one by Matt Thomas. And now they were lucky to get that 3 in the stolen basket here for the easy 5-0 run. But I'm telling you, they're just out of sync offensively. You look at the 3, it's not a good shot. He made it, but let's be honest, it's not a great shot. You see the just terrible plays. These are textbook school kid mistakes.
Well, Thomas, the beneficiary of the second steal. Valencia so active. That was actually the first of the 2 steals that Valencia were able to bag out of the timeout. Matt Thomas streaking to the hoop to get to 16 points in the game, and then Will Thomas finishing the other transition. Valencia Basket were threatening to blow this one out before Peyton Siva hit his second 3-pointer of the quarter. And then a fast break jam by Rojas Giedraitis. So 10 points scored in this quarter for ALBA Berlin, and 6 of them have come off tough threes buried by Peyton Siva.
Yeah, again, no continuity offensively. And it's going to be interesting to see now what I assume Valencia offensively is going to come out, maybe try to get the ball down low to the low post, the Dubljevic, or try to work from down low. And then I want to see what defense they come into, because the 1-3-1 has worked effectively a couple times, and the 2-3 also.
So full court press being applied. Now, is that on Peyton Siva? He elected to leave his feet and jump, and if it is, Well, he was walking a tightrope by playing with 2 fouls in the first half.
They gave it to Clifford. The foul's on Clifford right here. Ooh, I don't know, but the whistle blew before Clifford got into that play, but the foul was called on Clifford according to our TV.
So Dennis Clifford joins Peyton Siva on 2 fouls and Rojas Giedraitis as well. Matt Thomas to the free throw line, kick to the corner. Antoine Dio for 3. Back iron on the shot, Peyton Siva with the board. Head up immediately looking for options.
This is the moment for them to get back into the game, and there it is right there. That's an 8-0 run for Berlin off of a couple huge mistakes. They have been lucky here. If they can close out this half with another little run, they'll be fine.
So down by as many as 17, they've cut it back to a 9-point deficit, courtesy of this 8-0 run. Peyton Siva and Rojas Giedraitis from downtown. Will Thomas, is that a travel or is a foul on the ground?
Yeah, but he'll go to the line anyways. That's a 15 foul for ALBA Berlin, but that's exactly what I was talking about. You expect after them getting on that run that they're going to go down low to Will Thomas. They haven't been there. And he's got a chance to go to the line for 2 free throws. It's a game of runs in Berlin. If they get on a run like they can, they're a team, they're a tough team to beat, but Valencia's got that ability to just slow it down going into Will Thomas, going into Dubljevic, and getting points. But they gotta convert from foul line. Look at this. I mean, you're down 17. You go on this run, and all of a sudden it's a 9-point game. You got a chance to bring this back into 6 or 7 points.
Will Thomas 78% from the stripe this season. Find the range on the first, and he's 0 for 2. Rebound cleaned up by Dennis Clifford.
What a strange 2 minutes that we've seen here.
Topsy-turvy basketball in this game 3 decider. Peyton Siva, received by Dio. Dennis Clifford, top of the key, front rim on the shot. Nobody rebounding on the inside for the visitors.
Yeah, and that's not the shot you want on that play. You don't want your big man shooting from the top of the key.
Bounce pass finds Dubljevic. Will Thomas goes up strong and finishes. Delightful dish from inside the lane by Bojan Dubljevic. Will Thomas the beneficiary, and it's an and one. He'll go to the free throw line looking for another.
He got Will Thomas, Labrie. They feed off of Dubljevic in that cut on the baseline. As soon as he gets the ball in the middle, he's so aware. He's one of the better big men that pass the ball in the game. He sees the floor so quickly. You can see he gets that ball, and he already knows that Thomas is cutting. And he gets the and one. And I keep saying it's a strange 2-3 minutes that we've seen in this game, but a couple runs from each team. Thomas misses a couple free throws. I think it's a 3-point play on this side.
So having clawed the deficit back to 9 from what was 17, courtesy of an 8-0 run, Valencia Basket now see themselves with a double-digit lead once again. Peyton Siva with a hesitation dribble, kicks it back out to the perimeter. Rojas Giedraitis offloads to Clifford. Clifford gives it to Hermanson. Shot clock in the red. Tough shot attempted, top of the key by Niels Gaffay. Bojan Dubljevic with the board. Terrific D by Valencia Basket once again. A suffocating effort, making life difficult for the visitors.
Yeah, you thought maybe they might go for 2 for 1 here, but they're going to slow it down and get it back into Thomas again.
Baseline open for Will Thomas. Feeling for Gaffay. Ball in the hands of Dubljevic for 3. Count it. Bojan Dubljevic from downtown buries the 3-pointer. And what a game he is having so far. He takes into double figures.
8-0 run turns into a 6-0 run. There's Clifford did not get the travel call. I don't know how, but you see the difference between Clifford and Dubljevic. That foul counts to go into the half, and ALBA Berlin was lucky to get that one. But 8-0 run for Valencia, 6-0 run back for 8-0 run for Berlin, 6-0 run back for Valencia. And Berlin gets those final 2 to go into the halftime on what was probably a travel call, but...
Well, let's hear from one of Berlin's key players in this first half. Let's see what Peyton Siva has to say at the interval.
Peyton, you control the first minutes of the game, but then you suffered kind of a mental block. What happened?
They came out and made shots. Matt Thomas got really hot, and they got a couple offensive rebounds. And we got to do a better job in the glass.
Thank you.
No problem.
So Peyton Siva with a strong first half. Let's hear from Matt Thomas.
Matt, your beginning was really bad, but what a huge comeback. What was the key?
We just started playing with more effort, more energy. Our crowd's been great in the first half. We need to continue to try to get stops and get out in transition that's when we're at our best.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Matt Thomas, 4 of 5 from downtown, 2 from the near side corner, 1 from the far side corner, 1 from the point as well. He leads all scorers. Valencia Basket up by 13 at the half here of this Game 3 decider in the final of the 7 days EuroCup. And the numbers from what has been a back and forth topsy-turvy game so far, Joe. Both teams making some serious runs, started by ALBA Berlin.
And the biggest thing that I see right off the bat, neither team is hitting free throws or shooting free throws, but Berlin only has 2 free throws, and they've only received a few fouls in this game. You're looking at, they need to be more aggressive getting to the basket. They need to do what they did in the second half, or in the first half of the second game, and it's go to the basket, get fouled, get to the foul line. You gotta score those points when the clock is stopped. That's so important for Berlin because they get so many more off of fast breaks and transition.
Well, Valencia Basket, after starting cold from three-point territory, ended up with 8 for 15 from downtown for a 53% clip. And here is the main protagonist in that regard, Matt Thomas, hitting from the corners. Bojan Dubljevic wreaking havoc on the inside and dropping some delightful dimes as well. And the Valencia fans up on their feet after being subdued in the early stages. Peyton Siva, at one point, scored 6 of ALBA Berlin's 10 second quarter points. But it wasn't enough. They battled their way back from 17 down at 40-23 to trail by just 9. But then they saw Valencia Basket produce a 6-0 run to close out the half before they countered with a 2-pointer from Dennis Clifford. And Matt Thomas surpassing his season average, Peyton Siva close to his, Bojan Dubljevic with a delightful game so far. The second half just moments away. Join us for that.
This evening, 3-time champions Valencia Basket play host to 2010 finalists ALBA Berlin in the first of a 3-game series. Snap fast and grinding some spots up in the corner, and that drops. Pretty basketball from Valencia. Bounce pass to Clifford, it goes to the rack. And after 10 minutes of play, Valencia at home with a 7-point advantage. They're up 20-13. Hermanson open like church on Sunday, and he knocks down a 3. Nice reverse layup. Woo. Good finish on the assist from Sigma. Marvelous first half here. At one stage, Valencia were up 10. As they go into the change rooms, they're going to lead by just 3. 3 up and good. And then Rossum in space. Oh, great recognition. ALBA came out and started brightly, but right now, Joe, they're on the ropes. Oh, look what he passed by Dio. Another pass to Laverini with a house goal. Fine, Thomas with a hard-nosed basket. The emotes right at the depth of the shot clock. As the Las Toronas are going to win here, the opening game in this 2018-2019 finals, they win comfortably in the end. They have a lead here at halftime. ALBA Berlin up 3 at home against Valencia. reach, and overtime beckons. Oh my goodness, you called it, partner. We're going OT.
I told you. German pressure for you right there. A little pressure cooker.
And we are going back to Valencia. Alba Berlin win at home. They defend their home court and win game 2. This team that averaged 24 years of age have just forced a game 3. Matt Thomas drops a dime inside to Thomas, who says, muchos gracias, amigo. Easy flush for Thomas. Nice assist here as Thomas does the rest. Giedraitis off 3 screens. Back to Siva. Siva lays it up and in. He knocks it up at 83 each. And overtime beckons. Overtime beckons here in the Mercedes-Benz Arena. But Valencia with a timeout will advance the ball into their quarter court with 2 seconds left to try and win it. Siva strolls to the basket and lays it up and in. Gafai on the curl cut. Oh my goodness! Niels Gafai on a curl cut, strong to the rack.
And that is something that could motivate the fans, get them off their feet, get the team going again. We almost saw it earlier. We saw it that time.
14,500 here in the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Shout defense in a chorus that goes to the Raptors. Tonight's man of the match, Luke Sigma, was 15 points, but 4 huge free throws down the stretch. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Sigma to make the difference 3. Sigma takes a long look at the 3. The high-arching shot and he strings it. Oh, perfect execution. What a great play, Joe. Sigma with a rebound. Oh, what a block from behind by Sigma.
So the game intriguingly poised at the halfway stage of this do-or-die encounter between Valencia Basket and Alba Berlin. We've had a couple of players from each team who have taken a real lead in this game in terms of offense that they put on the board. And for the home team, Joe, Matt Thomas has been sensational after missing his first 3-point attempt. My goodness, did he find his groove to pour in a game-high 16 points so far, including 4 of 5 from downtown. He's been sensational.
And as you said earlier, Ron, from every spot on the floor, he did it in that corner there. Look at the fake pass just to get the defender off. Just that second is all he needs. And now it's the penetration that converges the defense, and Matt Thomas gets that open look in the other corner. And I think he's got one from the top of the key that he owes us still, doesn't he, Ron?
He's hit from the top of the key as well. Of his 4 3-pointers, they've come from 3 different spots. Here's the feed from Thomas, and this was just money because he was locked in by this time.
Yeah, and you know, the great thing is, you know, the players are looking for a guy like that. Once he gets that wrist on fire, they're giving it to him anytime they can.
Well, let's hear from his head coach now. Here's Coach Ponzano.
Now that you have the game under control, what do you have as your players for this second half?
Yeah, we need to improve special situations in defense because they play a lot of new situations, new concepts, and we need to ready for adapt and for involve. But the most important is the communication and adapt of the situation, and little bit details of the offense.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if he agrees with the fact that he has the game under control. I don't know.
13 points is the advantage. Alba Berlin have had a bright spark in what has been an offense that's often been out of sync, but Peyton Siva, Joe, has taken the responsibility and buried some big three-point buckets at crucial times for his team during that barren second quarter.
Yeah, he definitely has, around 13 points and a couple threes in real important moments when the team just they just weren't well offensively. But I continue to say the same thing about him that I said in game one. Until he starts getting to the basket, he's only been fouled one time in this first half. He's the only person that's gone to the line in the whole first 20 minutes. So Alba Berlin has to get to the basket. Erminson did it the other day. He got to the line, free throw line 7 or 8 times, picked up 7 or 8 fouls. Siva did the same thing, and that's the formula for Alba Berlin to beat Valencia, is make them play a little bit more defensively and become more physical offensively.
So the numbers then for Peyton Siva, and he has been, well, not the lone bright spot, but some of the buckets that he has come up with, they have been at absolutely critical times.
And only 20 minutes left. What do you have to do to change this game?
To play like in the first minute where we were 30 points up.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Easier said than done, huh?
Certainly, they're looking to bottle the type of energy and dynamism that they demonstrated in the opening stages of this game, which saw them race out to an 11-0 lead over 3 minutes, well over 3 minutes before Valencia put their first points on the board. But then Valencia chipped away, and closed the first quarter after being down 11-0, down by just one, 17 points to 18. Then a dominant display in the second quarter saw them lead by as many as 17.
As I was saying before, I was just looking at my numbers here. Alba shot 32 free throws in game 2 and 12 in game 1, I mentioned before. And tonight, only 2. I mean, you just can't beat a team like Valencia like that. You have to be able to pick up fouls on them because they're playing too free on defense. They're playing too physical on defense. You talked about it earlier. How many times did they take them into the red on the shot clock? And those are the times when you're in the red on the shot clock, you're normally not going to get a good look at the basket either. That's the thing.
So some of the offense that they have been able to produce, getting out in transition when Valencia did go up to 17. It was then an 8-0 run posted by Alba Berlin. 2 3-pointers, one from Rojas Giedraitis. It was started by a difficult 3 that was buried by Peyton Siva. And in between those 2 triples, Rojas Giedraitis with a fast break jam as well. But the Valencia fans just getting closer to what they feel will be another title. For the team, it's crucial for them to stay in the moment, Joe, and not start thinking about the outcome.
Yeah, the third quarter for them in the first game was huge. They went on a 30-15 run. They didn't start out well in either one of the beginning of the third quarter. So I'm sure mentally in the locker room they're thinking about, hey, look, guys. And I talk about this all the time. Around the first 2 minutes, last 2 minutes of each quarter are so pivotal. And I think, obviously, for Berlin down 13, they can't give up anything here early in the third quarter or during the third quarter. But for Valencia to come out and put that stifling defense back out in the first 2-3 minutes and set the tone here in the second half.
In that first game, the game was tied 49-49. As we take a look at the numbers through the finals, Will Thomas has been absolutely sensational coming into this game off a career high 22 points in that finals game 1. Third quarter underway, a backdoor cut. What a rejection. Dennis Clifford with a terrific play. That's his 3rd swat of the night.
And he needs to be in there. He needs to, I don't know if it's a physical thing for him, but he's not making it more than 3-4 minutes at a stint.
High post, he's settling for another high post. He buries it. Well, my goodness. Dennis Clifford stamping his authority on the opening stages of this second half.
Yeah, he told you and I to both shut up and tell him not to shoot that one before. This time he's like, here, that's for my commentators.
So the deficit reduced to 11. Tough shot in the lane. Rebound secured by Giedraitis. Peyton Siva off to the races. Pulling up for 3 in transition. Rim shot. And Bojan Dubljevic with the board.
And that's why I like to see Siva get to the basket on that fast break. Instead of pulling up for that 3, get to the basket if you can.
Fernando San Emeterio working on Hermansen. He's got the size advantage down low and the skills to exploit that mismatch.
Yeah, I don't want to say that that was an easy basket because it wasn't. It was a tough shot, but he does have that mismatch down low against Hermansen.
Sigma defended by Labrie. Siva gives it to Sigma. Oh, and he's put it straight into the hands of Valencia. It's another steal. Labrie has it taken away. Terrific strip by Peyton Siva to give them another opportunity.
Great transition defense by Siva, getting his hand on that ball.
Beneath the free throw line, kick to the wing. Hermansen for three, off right. Dubljevic with the ball.
And that's a shame, but that's what you want to see Siva do to get everybody else involved.
Standing his ground was the call. I think it's a blocking foul that's been called against ALBA Berlin. They're trying to draw that charge on the driving Fernando San Emeterio.
Yeah, you see Clifford moving, Sigma moving right there. And San Emeterio, you know he's going to, look at him. I mean, Clifford's a big boy. He's a 7-footer down there. Gotta love, he doesn't have a title anymore. He's lost his title. The game has changed. But San Emeterio right there is taking advantage with that body.
So he goes to the free throw line once again. 2 of 3 so far in the game. Puts his team up by 14.
You ever notice that guys that are good from the foul line love contact offensively? And the guys that don't shoot good from the foul line, they avoid it at all costs.
Looking to get that trip to the charity stripe. Fernando San Emeterio, a perfect trip on that occasion. His team lead by 15. They've led by as many as 17. Giedraitis almost dribbling into trouble. Sigma out on the wing. He's used his dribble, kick to the corner. The three-pointer fired from Giedraitis, and he finds the range from downtown. Rojas Giedraitis moves to 13 points in the game to bring his team back to within 12.
Yeah, if you're Valencia, you get a little bit worried. You're playing good defense. You give up those easy threes. If Berlin gets on that quick run, they can get back into this game easily.
So Dubljevic working on Clifford. Ball is loose. Players getting down low. Clifford comes up with the loose ball. Who touched it last? Oh, my goodness. After doing so much hard work, he tried the outlet pass, and he's instead committed a turnover.
Yeah, and that's sometimes why you don't want the big guy to have that ball in the backcourt. You know, it was a difficult play for Clifford. What happened was he found himself moving. He doesn't pick up the ball and get his feet set. So as he's moving, he has no other choice but to make that pass. And Van Rossum saw that also and got in the way of Siva. 14 extra seconds on a possession. You gotta, I mean, that every possession when you're down 12, 13 points is huge.
So Van Rossum loosely guarded by Siva. Sastra puts it through Van Rossum. Now it's San Emeterio looking to use his mobility against Clifford. Three-pointer is off the mark. Rebound Luke Sigma off the miss from Sastra.
And this is where you want Siva to get to the basket if he can off a pick. There you go.
Sigma gives it to Hermansen. He's picked up by Sastra. Then it's Clifford way beyond his territory. He's used his dribble. Somebody's got to bail him out. Luke Sigma does so. He gets to the free throw. Oh, my goodness. Well, you see, Clifford was cutting straight down the lane, and he put it looking for somebody to fade to the short corner.
Yeah, Clifford's doing what he's supposed to do, and that's go to the basket. When you see your MVP of the team getting to the basket like that, you're assuming he's going to shoot that ball. So what you're doing, you're thinking offensive rebound just in case he misses.
They're raising stuff over on the sideline.
For those of us that have hair.
It's a really stressful position, the head coach, living and breathing every possession. Good hands in the passing lane from Rojas Giedraitis, just eating up a couple of ticks, and it will be Valencia basketball.
Turnover starting to add up a little bit for Berlin. That's 10. Valencia only at 6.
Van Rossum sees a lane, drives, kicks to the corner. Labrie in the low post. Shot clock now ticking down. Labrie with a quick spin. That is delightful. The underhanded scoop off the glass. He's good.
That's a pretty move by the Frenchman right there. Looked like he was a little bit out of control, but he got his feet set and went up with a little scoop.
Siva gives it to Hermansen. He leaves his defender for dead as Sastra lost his footing on the hardwood.
Nice play, but that's what happens when the ball moves quickly, when there's not as much dribbling. The defenders can't react as quickly. You see how quickly that ball got to Hermansen. Sastra either lets him go to the basket and leaves his defender's big man. Yeah, moved by the big Frenchman, but Sastra's got to foul there. You have no other choice.
Siva Gets the ball through to Sigma. Sigma with the aggressive drive. Not quite sure, but he was looking for Clifford or tried a double pump to get the shot away. Either way, it's another turnover.
Yeah, Lavery's got him a little bit frustrated right now. He's letting him get to the basket, but he's not giving him anything once he gets there.
Sastra down to the corner. Lavery inside. All alone is Van Rossum. He goes high off the glass. Can't get it to go. He gets the offensive rebound. And it's back out to Sastra for three. And he hears the sound of sweet string music. Aaron Dornikamp and the Valencia bench up on their feet celebrating that bucket.
That was huge because Berlin actually played well defensively there. And here's another three. A little quick again for Alba Berlin. And you're going to give Valencia that opening. You're going to let them get away with this game. Earlier in the third quarter, they've done it. In game one also, that 30-15 run.
So the lead is 17 for the home team, equaling their largest advantage of the game. Front rim on the shot, Sigma with the defensive board. Hermansen almost lost the basketball. Sigma was on cleanup duty in the backcourt. Now it's Giedraitis. Kick to the corner. Siva had to make like Odell Beckham Jr. to reel in that one, and he can't control it. Turnover's the result.
Yeah, that was a great reference right there, OBJ. I love it. And I tell you right now, Berlin, they need to get to their, we talked about it earlier, you mentioned it, I mentioned it, it's composure. And they've lost their composure here to come out here in the third quarter.
So Sigma putting his body on the line to take that drive away from San Emeterio. Here was the deep three-pointer from Sastra.
Yeah, and I don't want to say anything, this isn't a negative comment, but when you play such good defense and the ball gets kicked out and it's not Van Rossum, it's not one of the main guys of the team, it's Sastra, who's not a great, I mean, he's just such a role player for this team. And all of a sudden he drills a three on you after you've played such good defense. It just hurts even more.
The experience is Sastra in his sixth season in the EuroCup, 40% from downtown for his career. And if you leave him open, well, he demonstrates what he can do.
But he's one of those guys, where if you're playing defense, you're saying, all right, well, if he beats us, let him beat us. You don't want Van Rossum or Will Thomas or Matt Thomas to beat us from the outside.
So 1 of 2 on that trip to the free throw line. Valencia with their largest lead of the game. The advantage is 18. Siva sees a lane, drives in heavy traffic, tries a reverse layup, somehow saves the basketball to Niels Giffey. Niels Giffey, I think, has drawn the foul. Sastra on the hardwood, having had the wind knocked out of him from that body shot.
And that's what I like. When Siva goes to the basket, it's a better penetration, but still, Valencia's defense, look at all three guys right there. You have San Emeterio, textbook right there, blocking out as Toby goes over to get that block. And then Sastra comes up with the unfortunate foul. He's still down on the floor. I don't know. He took a shot, but he's got to be a little tired, man. He's been active in his last couple minutes. He's got me exhausted over here.
All that experience just buying himself a little bit of time. That's a terrific save from Siva after his shot was blocked by Mike Toby. Niels Giffey and Sastra fighting for that 50-50 ball.
He's starting to look like he plays in La Liga football, you know? Down on the floor, bring the stretcher out.
So 14 seconds on this sideline possession for Alba Berlin. They're being doubled up so far in this third quarter. 10-5, they're being outscored. Siva defended by Dio. Ball turned over, picked up by Valencia for another transition opportunity. Matt Thomas, short corner J, off the side of the backboard. Siva with the rebound.
That's the second time in this series he shot one off the side of the backboard. I don't know how, a guy that's such a great shooter, how does he do that? He's done it twice. I've never seen that before, but again, Valencia has taken Berlin out of their game. I mentioned it earlier. Valencia is much more comfortable playing at Berlin's pace than Berlin is playing at Valencia's pace, and that's so evident for here today because Valencia's still willing to run when they get a chance.
Three-pointer from the perimeter is a rim shot on the inside. Rebounding is Landry Noko. The man who was off the mark was Tim Schneider. Second most accurate three-point bomber in the competition so far this season at 58% from downtown.
And that's good work by Noko, but again, he's got those hands, man. It's driving me crazy because a big man with hands is so important. You got good hands, you get those easy, quick baskets.
So Noko just rotated the ball to Siva. Siva using his quickness and drawing the foul immediately on Antoine Dio. Dio will be called for foul number 3 here in this third quarter.
Siva's so quick off that first step also. So I'd like him getting to the basket a little bit more. But right now, again, I said it earlier on, they can't pick away. They have to pick away at this. They can't. You got to make foul shots, obviously, when the clock is stopped. But you're not going to get this every time going down court by jacking up three-pointers. You got to get it little by little. But it all starts on defense. If you're not playing defense on that side of the floor, you're not going to get back into this game. You can't start exchanging baskets.
But as you said, Joe, over 4 minutes to go. Valencia now in the penalty, so surely that will provide impetus for ALBA Berlin to look to take the ball to the basket aggressively.
Yeah, Berlin's looking at a foul line, but look at that.
Beautiful backdoor cut, and then the power dribble and two-fisted jam finish by Will Thomas.
I love watching these big men play together. They went into a 2-3 zone, and where do you beat a 2-3 zone? You beat it at the foul line.
Noko into the lane, goes for a while. I'm not quite sure what it was. He went up, looked like a two-handed hook. Came away with nothing. Transition opportunity for Valencia.
Yeah, they're going to slow it down now. They're going to see that 2-3 zone again. Try to find someone at the foul line. This time it's Toby lining up. And Noko's out of place defensively.
Good hands to break up from Noko. Giedraitis almost lost the dribble. He gives it to Giffey. Giffey picked up the dribble. Is that a 3-second violation? It's a foul on the ground committed by Aaron Dornikamp. I think trying to keep Noko away from the bucket.
It's been a crazy third quarter for Berlin because you see them constantly running up the floor, but they can't get a handle on the ball. Noko down low, that time Giedraitis in the fast break. They can't get anything developed on the fast break because it's like they gotta put a fork in the ball, you know? They're not getting a handle of it, so they're not able to run. And right now, we are a team like Berlin that could score. You're not out of a game at 20 points. You're still into it. You just have to cut this lead going into the fourth quarter. Get it down to below 15. Then you're aiming for that 10-point area at 5 minutes to go.
So Landry Noko, 56% from the stripe this season, makes the first. It was Mike Toby who was called for the foul. So a perfect trip to the free throw line for Landry Noko. He's
not bad for a 50% shooter right there. Those are big points right there.
So Matt Thomas pulls up for 3, front rim on the shot. What an offensive rebound secured by Dubljevic, and then Mike Toby saved the possession while falling out of bounds. Dornikamp for 3, rattles it home from just about 11 o'clock.
And you count that as a 6-point possession because of the missed 3 and the giving up the offensive rebound. Kicks it back out to Dornikamp to stock another 3.
And the lead is 20. Back iron on the 3-point attempt. Valencia with their largest advantage of the game.
And here they go into Thomas. This is what they love to do. You're going to see Matt Thomas now spot up.
So one-on-one. Threatening with a double team is Niels Giffey. There it comes. That leaves Matt Thomas open. Beautiful catch in heavy traffic by Mike Toby. ALBA Berlin committing the foul.
It's turning into a clinic right now offensively for Valencia. They're so unselfish with the ball. You can tell that how long they've played together over the years. They look for the best shot on the floor, and that's exactly what Matt Thomas did right there, because Matt Thomas is drilling threes left and right. Had a wide open look with the exit pass from Will Thomas down low, but instead he gets into Toby and sends Toby to the foul line and gets his team a little bit of a breather because they've been running up and down the court. You just see Coach Aido giving some words of wisdom to Luke Sigma over there on the sideline. He's still got some time to go. He's got to get himself back into this game. He's the MVP for a reason.
Mike Toby with something of a lottery when he goes to the free throw line. Just 48% so far this season coming into this final. And as has been customary all campaign long, he goes 1 of 2. His team up by 21. Hermanson gives it to Giedraitis, looking for the lob is Giffey. Nice catch, but it's coming over with Mike Toby on the help. Now Giffey at the short corner, working on Dio, backing him down. Double team arrives from Dornikamp. Shot clock in the red, 3 points of 5 from the wing. And Schneider can't find the range.
Here they go. This is what we talked about earlier. They like to play at that pace. They're more comfortable at that pace. You see them turning defense into offense on the fast break, and they're not going to take their foot off the pedal right now. They're going to try to open up this lead as much as they can going into the fourth quarter, and it's celebration time in Valencia if they can get this thing up over 20. They don't even care about waiting in the fourth quarter. They're already starting to celebrate.
So the Valencia fans feel that they and their team have one hand on the EuroCup trophy. They are up by 21 with less than 2 minutes to play here in the penultimate quarter. Doesn't look as though overtime is going to be necessary in this deciding game so far, but then Alba Berlin, well, the bounce of the ball just not going their way. They all converged on the ball handler to force what they thought was a turnover, but then the ball bouncing out of bounds.
Yeah, and you see what kind of team they are. They all ran out for the fast break as soon as they saw that loose ball, but you got to pick it up. And that's what we talked about earlier, 50-50 balls. They got to go your way. There's only 5 seconds left on the shot clock, though. So you cannot stop defending right now. You can't give up that easy basket that we saw earlier on the out-of-bounds play. Here he comes.
So 2 3-point territory with the reception by Mike Toby. Dornicamp, oh, is that a foul with 1.7 seconds on the clock? My goodness.
And that's youth against experience right there. You cannot foul that far away from the basket with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Right there, it's Gaffai who gives him, did they call it on Thiemann at the end? But Gaffai grabbed him first. And they end up calling it on Thiemann anyways, but still 1.7 seconds left. You got a guy dribbling to his left, off balance, not leaving looking to shoot. Just can't commit that foul.
So Aaron Dornicamp, 72% from the stripe so far this campaign. Can't find the range on the first.
The thing that stands out most to me, Ron, is that 14 points in the first 3 minutes of the first quarter, and it's only been 27 points for Alba Berlin since that point of this game.
Not able to maintain their red-hot start. You have to give Valencia credit for that, as you pointed out, Joe, because they cranked up the defensive intensity and have made life very difficult with hands in the lane and deflections like that. But Martin Hermansen connecting from downtown, giving the visiting fans something to cheer about.
Yeah, but you mentioned it. It's a hard three. I mean, they had to work so hard to get that three, and that's what Valencia does to you.
Hermansen with his first three-pointer of the night, now 1 of 4 from downtown. His team down 19. Double team of Will Thomas was a momentary one. Luke Sigma playing in straight up. The three-pointer fired from the top of the key by Vives. Long. And here come Alba Berlin.
You want to get something here and try to get a stop, get a 2-for-1. Get yourself maybe down in that 15-point range.
Sigma upstairs with the alley-oop. Oh my goodness, who was that to? Because Thiemann would have needed a pogo stick to hold that one in. My goodness, it was high.
Where did he go with that? That was above the backboard. Thiemann could jump, but he's not getting up that much.
So we've got an 11-second differential between the shot clock and the quarter clock in the closing stages of this third quarter. Lots of contact close to the free throw line. Ball in the hands of Dornicamp.
You don't want to foul now, Ron.
And it's an offensive foul called against Aaron Dornicamp. That'll be his third.
Now, if you're Berlin, you're thinking 17 seconds. You don't want to give Valencia the ball back. There's no doubt about it. But if you get an easy shot, you got to take the easy basket, then suck it up on defense on the other side. Because what happens here is you have to score regardless of it. The fourth quarter is when you start chipping away. Get it down to that 10 points with 5 minutes left if you can. They have a good opportunity right here if they can score quickly and then get a stop, or just score at the buzzer.
So it's Hermansen looking as though he's holding for the final shot. Screen threatened, not set. Sigma fakes the three, goes inside to the wing. Ogba from the perimeter. Oh my goodness, he didn't draw iron. So after working hard to get the final possession, Alba Berlin ending the third quarter with an air ball. And the Valencia fans are beginning to celebrate here because their team are in a commanding position through 3 completed quarters of play. A dominant third quarter where they outscored Alba Berlin by 17 points to 11. And at the end of 3, it is Valencia Basket up by 19. Valencia Basket 63, Alba Berlin 44.
Thing that stands out to me here, Ron, in this third, not only the third quarter, but throughout this game, is Alba Berlin's only scored 18 points in the first quarter. It's been 15 and 11 since then. And we talked about those 14 right off the bat to get out to that quick lead. And Valencia has just stifled them offensively. And it's a hard team to stifle because they work on possessions. They've averaged over like 88 possessions a game throughout the season, 10 more than Valencia has in any game throughout the season. So to stop them the way they're stopping them, there's a lot of nerves involved with Berlin, I think. They're still young. They had that first game where they played pretty much the same way they're playing now. They even played better in the first game than they're playing now, but you think they come out here tonight with a little bit more energy, a little bit more experience after that first game loss, but it's been a tough third quarter for them. It's going to be a tough fourth quarter if they don't come out in these first 2-3 minutes and set the tone. They started to do it here at the end of the third quarter defensively, getting a little bit more physical, but they late in the dollar short possibly right now.
So the numbers then, through 3 completed quarters of play. The start, Alba Berlin, we've mentioned it before, they were so energetic, so alert, so committed, getting in the passing lanes, blocking shots. And interestingly, Joe, when Dennis Clifford started the second half, he was an absolute catalyst once again because he blocked a shot, he went down and he hit a long-range J, but his minutes have been managed carefully in this final so far. Dennis Clifford, 6 points in the game on 3 of 4 shooting, and he's logged just 13 minutes in the game to this point.
Yeah, I'm not here to question anybody, but you see a guy like that, you got to get him in and out of the game if you can. He only played 5 minutes in game 1, and in game 2 he played about, I think it was 15 minutes in total in game 2, and he made a huge difference. And you said his time on the floor tonight, he's also made a difference in the game, but he's a big body and his game is going up and down, so he maybe needs to get his rest.
Well, all players will be leaving everything that they have to give out on the floor here tonight. And even those who don't get on the floor, their input's going to be crucial. If you're Alba Berlin in a raucous atmosphere such as this, you've got to let your team know when the shot clock's ticking down. Anything you can do to make a contribution. This is a do-or-die situation as Hermansen leaves his feet, finds Sigma, back iron on the shot. Luke Sigma can't find the range from downtown.
We talked about Clifford, but I'm also asking where's Siva right now to start this fourth quarter down 19. He's your main scorer here tonight. You need him on the floor.
Ogba looking to lock down Vives. Short corner, Will Thomas working on Sigma. All over the court is Kenneth Ogba, but looking to find the space of Valencia. Matt Thomas fakes the 3, goes inside, side iron once again.
I don't know how he does it. That's 3 in the series. How does he do it?
So, both teams coming up empty on their trips down the floor. That was terrific defense played by Alba Berlin, forcing Valencia Basket into a very tough shot when they were also being put under added pressure by an elapsing shot clock. But now, can they get the other side of the coin? Can they get themselves a good look at the bucket in the face of this stifling Valencia Basket D? Hermansen, Ogba going backdoor along the baseline. Foul out on the perimeter. Is that Mike Toby who's called for the foul? If so, that'll be his 3rd.
That's a tricky part of the game because if you're Valencia, you don't really want to pick up too many of these fouls because you don't want to get them into the bonus too soon, and you don't want to stop the clock. You want that clock to run as much again. Right now, the clock's your best friend.
So Tiemann in the block, lots of contact. Mike Toby called for 2 fouls in quick succession. I don't think the tweet of the first whistle had finished reverberating around the arena before he's called for foul number 4.
They were still writing it in the books on the at the table. But yeah, Toby, we saw that the other night with the 4th and 5th foul when he fouled out of the game. And I mean, both of them were fouls. There's no doubt about it. You can argue it all you want. And Tiemann goes to the line, and that's 2 quick fouls on Valencia in the first minute of this fourth quarter. So one of the keys to coming back in the game is trying to get to the foul line and stopping that clock and scoring points. And right now, Alba Berlin's on that. They're on that road, but they got to keep staying aggressive offensively. And they got to get Toby out of the game before he gets all 5 here in the fourth quarter.
So Johannes Tiemann to the free throw line, 71% from the stripe this season. He was perfect in the game 2 of this final series where he scored 3 points, one of which came from the free throw line in his 15 minutes on court. So Tiemann goes 2 of 2 from the free throw line, the first points on the board in this fourth quarter. And they have gone in the direction of the visiting team. Ogba getting down low, defending Van Rossum. Dubljevic coming to set a screen. Now rumbling down towards the low post. There he received the basketball. His pump fake got ALBA Berlin doing synchronized jumping. And just look at the ovation that his bucket is receiving. 14 points in the game.
That couple said, we've seen that so many times.
Sigma still laying bricks from the outside.
And they want to keep running. Look at Valencia just wants to keep running and putting the pressure on ALBA Berlin. And right now, frustration's starting to set in. Look at Dubljevic, even trying to take care of a young man, Hermanson, right there. As Hermanson get mad at the referee, kind of wave him off, and Dubljevic actually walks up to him and gives him a little pat on the head and says, hey, bro, young man, he's like, you got a lot of time to win this. You're a good young player. Keep it up. Keep your head up. Already sending condolences. It's a little early for that, isn't it?
8 minutes and change left in this game. Points can be put on the board in a hurry, particularly if you're as potent an offense as ALBA Berlin. But when you're being subjected to abuse like that in the low post from Bojan Dubljevic, well, it can be a little bit dispiriting.
Yeah, it's just the way they play together. They know each other so well.
The three-pointer landed from downtown. Rojas Giedraitis finding the range once again.
They've done a great job of keeping him from getting the ball and getting open looks. It doesn't take him very long to get that three off. That was the first look he's had. What a play on the baseline again. They set that play up all the time. They love that little play to Will Thomas on the baseline.
So the advantage is 20. Valencia executing magnificently. Offensive foul is the call, and everything that Valencia Basket is doing is being rewarded. Executing magnificently in this high-pressure scenario.
ALBA's going to be frustrated in this call, but it's an obvious offensive foul. This is a guy that uses his body a lot to get open, coming around picks, but this time he decided to throw his arm out, got his forearm. I think it was in the San Emeterio. We're going to see it right here. You see that arm go up right there. And that's a foul all day long in this league. And look at Will Thomas is dialed in.
So Rojas Giedraitis called for his third. He's been called against team, and I think it's Giedraitis who picked up foul number 3. Valencia Basket. They're saying Rojas Giedraitis has got 2 fouls.
That should have been his foul.
So we'll keep you up to date with our housekeeping when we can. The three-pointer off the mark. Ball is loose. What an offensive rebound by Bojan Dubljevic.
When are you going to learn? Because, you know, you see a guy like Dubljevic, and you say to yourself, like, he's not going to out-jump me. It's like Felipe Reyes, you know? It's like he's not going to out-jump me, so I don't have to box him out. No, you have to box him out because they have a way of smelling where the ball is, how it's coming off the rim, and they time their jump. They might not be able to jump a lot, but they know how to time it perfectly.
Matt Thomas on the baseline drive. Fernando San Emeterio from downtown, and he hits the 3 ball from the corner pocket. Only 28%. I say only. He's been 38% from three-point territory so far in the final, San Emeterio.
There was a rumor out there that 35-year-old young man was almost over. It was done for him. But he hadn't been showing that this season, not in this final, that's for sure.
Well, the celebrations are cascading down from every seat in the house here in Valencia, because they sense that their team are on the cusp of securing their 4th EuroLeague title. And when you get 3-point opportunities like that, well, what a play from Bojan Dubljevic, burying the bucket despite the heavy contact. And he is loving life at the moment in this deciding game of the EuroCup finals.
A little bravado there by the Montenegrin or what? Look at him just sticking the chest out and getting up. And man, I'm telling you, it's you know, Ron, as a player who's won and lost finals and championships and so on and so on, you know what both sides are feeling right now. And if you're Valencia, you don't want this to end, you know. And if you're Berlin, you're looking up at the court, you're looking up at the clock, going, "Why is this clock not moving? Get me out of here, please! I'm done." But the experience of being here is what counts. You look at teams like Fenerbahce in the EuroLeague. You know, Madrid suffered for years before they won their 2. So you got to get there. You got to get this experience, and you got to be there to get better. You know, you learn so much more in life by losing than you do by winning. There's no doubt about it. And everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to make a lot of money, whatever. But you learn a lot more in games like this, and it'll be better for their future. But it's a tough situation for them.
Right now, they're on the receiving end. Something of a drubbing. They are down by 23, Alba Berlin, their largest deficit to this point of this final game. And so far, in this fourth quarter, they're being outscored 11 points to 7. Bojan Dubljevic is having a ball.
27 years old. It seems like he's been around forever, too, you know? Seems like one of those guys that we've been talking about for years and years and years. 18 points, 6 rebounds. And what I love about him is the way he's got the ability to find his players on the floor, and he distributes the ball so well from the low post, averaging almost three assists a game. And San Emeterio at 35 years old. Losing never gets old.
So Bojan Dubljevic not able to complete the three-point play.
I guess I should have said winning never gets old, right?
Yes,
in this case. That was my mistake right there.
So approaching the midpoint of this final quarter, but just look at the contrast in body language. Alba Berlin know that it hasn't been their night. And this, you get the sense from looking at their body language as Giedraitis pulls the trigger and gets the fortuitous bounce, going via the window after drawing iron first.
It's a Lithuanian bounce right there, baby.
He's certainly not giving this one up. Reduce the arrears to 20. 5 minutes 40 left in this game. Alba Berlin needs stops. Niels Gaffay getting out aggressively, helped out by Landry Noko. Noko scrambles back down into the lane, and then he is crowned. Fernando San Emeterio winding back the years and defying Father Time and gravity to finish that one-handed jam.
Are you kidding me with San Emeterio?
Landry Noko on cleanup duty.
I saw it coming. I'm like, no, he's not. No. Oh, my.
On top of one of the best shot blockers in the competition, Landry Noko was crowned on that occasion. And Fernando San Emeterio is flying high.
Man, look at this. And that's one of those quick dunks, because you know, as a big man, Noko, you know you're going up, you think you have it timed, and watch how quickly he puts it down once it's up there. Boom! Oh, poor Noko.
So Fernando San Emeterio burying the free throw. It's been a chastening experience so far in this deciding game for Alba Berlin, now down 22, having been down by as many as 23 earlier in this quarter. Beyond the midpoint of this now, Peyton Siva looking for three, almost wedging beneath the backboard and the rim.
And that's what's been hurting them a lot, is a three-point shot, 9 for 25 so far in this game. And again, they're just jacking them up too quickly here in the second half. Now comes a two-man game down low.
Will Thomas with a huge advantage against down in the low post, but coming away with the ball is Tim Schneider. So Giedraitis using his body intelligently to draw that foul. Fernando San Emeterio will be called for it.
That's good hands down there against Will Thomas. What you have to do with him, but again, it's game one, he dominated down low. Game two, he controlled the game from down low, and now it's a little bit too late to be worried about those plays, but Dubljevic goes to the bench, and they love him. Dude, as they call him there.
So he's hearing it from the crowd. Peyton Siva with an aggressive drive. The blocking foul called against Sam Van Rossum.
That's exactly the move I was talking about earlier. And I talked about in game one and game two with Sivas. Get to the basket, make Van Rossum, make San Emeterio play defense on you. San Emeterio is 35 years old. But he could definitely play offense, but it's easy to play offense. Offense is ageless. Defense is hard to play when you're 35, man. Offense, you want to play all day long. I wish I could still go play offense. Of course, I had a reputation for not playing any defense anyways, but Ron, if you score 35 and your guy scores 18,
You've done your job.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a 17-point difference, right?
That is the offensive player's philosophy right there as Peyton Siva takes it up strong. Louis Laborie with the block against Landry-Noko. Then a collection, including Will Thomas, rub out the second effort from Landry-Noko after he got the ball back. And that typifies the effort that they put forward since the early stages when they got over their cold start.
Yeah, 22-point lead, and they're not giving up any easy basket. There's Matt Thomas sticking it from 3.
Matt Thomas continuing to light up Alba Berlin like the Las Vegas Strip. 5 of 7 from downtown in his 19-point total. It's a 25-point lead. Defensive rebound secured. So this one is over as a contest now, and Valencia will look to enjoy these final 3 minutes and change here on home court, where they have been imperious all season long. And it's another dominant display, and everything is falling for them as Will Thomas roars in celebration, and their leader, Bojan Dubljevic, leading the cheering over on the sidelines.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's hard to talk about sometimes, but the camaraderie within this team, the fact that they played together for so long. Again, we go over to Alba Berlin's bench and you see the disappointment. It's the hardest part of this game is to see these young guys go through this, but to watch these veterans who played so well together, played so long, 11 of them played in the EuroLeague with this team last year. 8 of them were in the finals a couple years ago. They had a tough loss to Unicaja a couple years ago. They were down, or they were up 14 going into the fourth quarter. And if I remember correctly, they scored 3 points in the entire fourth quarter and lost that game on their home floor in front of their home fans. So they're happy to be back.
Landry-Noko with a tough finish on the inside, working well down in the low post and drawing that foul against Alberto Abalde.
Everybody asked me, like, hey, how did Valencia get to the EuroLeague when they did lose that game against Unicaja? But remember that year they beat Real Madrid in the ACB championship, and that was their ticket into the EuroLeague. But this year, they got it a little bit easier. They could take it out. They could take it easy in the playoffs, Ron. No pressure this year in the playoffs.
So that bucket from Landry-Noko stemming a run of 8 points without reply that Valencia have put on the board. And so far, they're outscoring Alba Berlin 21-14 in this period. Alba Berlin couldn't afford to trade baskets, but they have made no real impression. In fact, the lead has grown. It's as large as 28 at 84-56.
And they're just jacking it up now. You know, it just gets out of control at this point. They just want to hurry up and get out of here. They're thinking, don't foul, don't stop the clock. Let's just get out of here as soon as we can.
So Will Thomas gives it to Matt Thomas. Matt Thomas faking the 3 from almost by the halfway line, now showing his one-on-one prowess. Laborie to Abalde, who just got himself a little bit of room with the jab step and then dropped another 3-pointer. And my goodness, has that been a potent weapon for Valencia Basket tonight. 50% from downtown after their stone-cold start.
Yeah, and Abalde's a guy that hasn't got much time. He just got in the game. He hasn't got much time through the whole series. And he's like, hey, man, they just saw the black hole the other day. We saw the black hole for the first time in years. Ron, that's what they called me. That's what they called me in Sacramento when I was there. I was like, I played a couple minutes a game. Every time I got the ball, it was the black hole. Oh!
The alley-oop not quite coming off for Abalde as he tried to find the bottom of the net once again. And the celebrations beginning in earnest now. The Valencia Basket fans cheering irrespective of what Alba Berlin are doing as they can't find the range. That's a nice tip. I think it was Neil Gaffay who finally kissed it home for Alba Berlin.
Campeones, campeones, oe, oe, oe is what they're singing, what they're trying to be chanting that all night long in the streets of Valencia, going to get some paella, man.
Celebrations beginning, high fives among all of the players. This outstanding team who have demonstrated such togetherness as Laborie gets to the bucket and continues to pour on the pain. He's about to become a 3-time EuroCup champion, Rafa Martinez.
And he's enjoying it just as much as anybody else. Hasn't got a second in these finals, but he's a huge part of this team from the bench.
So inside the final minute, and still Valencia applying a suffocating defensive effort. Landry-Noko from the free throw line. Alba Berlin subdued and silent their supporters up in the stands.
You never expected to lose a final like this. Right? It's a difficult way to go down because you know you gave it your all no matter what. It just didn't work out tonight.
So 26 points the advantage. Shot clock violation, but Alba Berlin come away with it in the hands of Hermansen. There's a negligible difference between the shot clock and the game clock. And Valencia Basket have dominated this championship decider. And they're not even bothering to defend. Alba Berlin electing to dribble it out. There'll be a stoppage for a shot clock violation. Let's see if it's observed. It is going to be observed because these things have to be. But don't tell that to Valencia Basket because they have already begun their celebrations. Truth be told, the supporters begun them from about 4 minutes ago. And there it is. For the 4th time in their illustrious history, Valencia Basket are the EuroCup champions. And they have done so with a dominant display over their rivals Alba Berlin in this Game 3 decider, rocking the German visitors solidly with a final 26-point margin of victory. The overtime game that they were extended to over in Germany, a distant memory. And after a shaky start here on home court, they recovered, got themselves in front, and once they took the lead, well, it was one that they just held on to with a vice-like grip. Valencia Basket, the winners, and once again, the EuroCup champions. In this magnificent competition, they are the most successful champions ever. In its 6th EuroCup finals, they eased the pain of that defeat you mentioned against Unicaja Malaga a few years ago. Let's hear from their head coach.
Vamos. Coach, it has been a really difficult journey, but you have shown you are the best team in this EuroCup.
Yeah, it's very difficult because in the final, when play at home, always is not favorite because in the last seasons always lose the team that with the factor home, okay? But we have a great team, we have great players, we have a great staff. We have this is the illusion of the Juan Roig and his family, and we are very happy. And we want that. Congrats, Alba de Berlin. They play unbelievable. They made an unbelievable EuroCup. Their coach, their coach is the teacher. I learned a lot of in this final, and we are very happy.
Congratulations, Alba. Thank you very much.
So the final score then in this championship decider sees Valencia Basket prevail by a score of 89 points to 63. An absolutely dominant display where so many of their experienced players came to the fore and just provided the energy, intensity, and the basketball know-how when it was required.
Yeah, it's such a collective win for them also. There's nobody else that did it one man, two man. Now let's go talk to one of the vets of the team, Dubljevic.
Bojan, this atmosphere is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, this is a big day for us, for Valencia. We win one more trophy. I'm very proud of these guys, these coaches, these fans who support us all these years. And let's celebrate, yeah?
Bojan, the match started really bad for you, but you saw character and faith in your work.
Yes, when we broke the ice, we started to play our game, and we win, like everybody expects.
Thank you very much.
Well, they expected, and Dubljevic delivered, and he is skipping his way back to his teammates. The 7 Days EuroCup MVP is Bojan Dubljevic. A terrific performance. 18 points, 8 rebounds, and he also dished out 3 assists, and some of them were really pretty dimes that he dropped from around the high post, Joe. Absolutely sensational performance.
Yeah, he loves the work from there. But let me tell you something, Ron. If I came into this place earlier, put these headphones on and told you that Van Rossum wasn't going to score a single point tonight, what would you have said to me? You said, Elba's got a chance. That's how collective of a win this was for Valencia. Van Rossum, their main man throughout this whole playoff series and throughout the season, is a guy that didn't score zero. He scored 0 points tonight. 1 shot from 2, 3 shots from 3.
Over 4 from the field. And it was a bagel in terms of offensive output. He dished out 4 assists and bagged a steal. But as Joe has pointed out, this has been a terrific collective effort produced by Valencia Basket. Points coming from unlikely places. Fernando San Emeterio, 18 points in the game, 6 of 8 from the stripe. As we are about to see the presentation of this coveted EuroCup trophy. And first of all, the MVP of tonight's championship decider will be presented to Bojan Dubljevic.
Will Thomas.
Well, we've received some misinformation.
No, I think Dubljevic was the game. Was the player of the game.
And the finals MVP.
There we go.
Is Will Thomas, after a series of terrific performances, capped off tonight by 15 points on 5 of 7 shooting from 2-point territory, along with 3 rebounds and 2 helpers as well. Absolutely fantastic. The 7 days EuroCup Finals MVP here in 2019 is Will Thomas. He posted a career high during this series, and he has been a leading light for their team all final series long.
Yeah, and you could have just put your hand in a hat right there and picked out the MVP. You could have went with Matt Thomas, you could have went with Dubljevic, you could have went with Van Rossum, you could have went with anybody. But very deservingly, like you said, he got the career high 22 in the first game, and he set the tone for his team.
And just look at how happy his teammates are for him, as now they all step up to receive their championship medals, and their name will go into the books as 7 days EuroCup champions. The 4th success.
I like those shirts too. You see those shirts with the poker, the aces? I gotta get me one of those, Ron. I'm gonna show up with you at Victoria at the Final Four with one of those shirts.
And there's Rafa Martinez.
What size are you? You want one?
Let's see if we can get ourselves one.
Yeah, you're about the same size as me. I'm gonna get a couple of those shirts for us. You look like I gotta cut the sleeves off to show the biceps off.
The celebrations continue in exuberant fashion on home court, where once again Valencia have proved unbeatable, extending their perfect record on home court this season. And they step up onto the podium, where in just a few moments' time they will get their hands on that EuroCup trophy. Rafa Martinez, 3 EuroCup triumphs in his outstanding career.
I think that's the most impressive thing, that the lack of, or the amount of focus that they've had throughout the season. They've lost 3 games all season long, all 3 of them on the road. Haven't lost 1 game here in front of their home fans, and that's a lot of focus, because you know you got the domestic league games. Every now and then you say, you know, we come home and take a break, but not here. And here we go.
Rafa Martinez gets his hands on the trophy. And then in synchronized fashion, he hoisted aloft. For the 4th time in their illustrious history, Valencia Basket are the 7 days EuroCup champions, the most successful team in the history of this competition. And how fitting that the most successful player in the history of this competition is the man who has the honor of hoisting the trophy aloft. Valencia Basket are the 7 days EuroCup champions in 2019. They did it with an absolutely dominant display, overrunning Alba Berlin after a shaky start. And not only have they continued to lead or extended their position in the all-time standings in this competition, adding to the titles that they won in 2003, 2010 and 2014. They have also punched their ticket to return to the EuroLeague.
That's what it's all about. That's what this competition is all about, is getting yourself back into the EuroLeague. And this team is poised. Couple new signings for the next year, and they'll be ready to roll again. They did a great job last year in the EuroLeague. They competed throughout the season, and they got guys that have experience in the EuroLeague, and they showed it here in the EuroCup. And you know, sometimes, Ron, it's tough to go from that EuroLeague to the EuroCup and do what they did. You know, they dominated. So that's a set skill also. That's a mental skill. And I'll pass it over to you to get it to our man here.
Well, as the celebrations continue among the players and the support staff and the management, let's hear from Will Thomas.
What a feeling.
Great feeling. It never gets old. It's, every time we win a championship is a great feeling. It's just a great feeling going around the team and everybody's happy, man.
It has been a hard journey for you, all those months and many injuries, and it has been not easy.
Yeah, it hasn't been an easy season for us. We've had a few injuries, but guys kept on fighting, and guys stepped up throughout the season to help us get to this point.
And you are the MVP of these finals.
I got it. It was because of my teammates. They really believe in me, and it just happened. I'm so happy for it.
Thank you very much. Congrats.
Thank you.
Well, the tradition of the twine being cut from the hoop. And let's hear from another key contributor tonight, Fernando San Emeterio.
Fer, you told me yesterday that what happened in 2 years ago, it's another history, and you have made history today.
Yeah, we played a great game. We had a difficult start in the game, losing 11-0, but we are still fighting. We're still playing together with these fans here, and we won this tournament.
The team keep the faith in the worst moment.
Yes, we trust each other. We fight together. We control the rebound. We run, and we let a big team like ALBA in 63 points. This is a great effort and great defense as a team.
And the next season, you come back to EuroLeague. You come back to EuroLeague next season.
Yes, here is my daughter. And we are champions. Eh? Yes, next year we play EuroLeague, and let's try to make a great season.
Thank you very much. Congrats.
What a wonderful moment for Fernando San Emeterio. In his third EuroCup finals, he finally comes away as a champion after coming up as a runner-up with Girona in 2008 and Valencia back in 2017 when they lost that heartbreaker against Unicaja Malaga, sharing that with his daughter. Persistence paying off for San Emeterio, coming away with a EuroCup Champions Winners Medal in this, his third finals appearance. Matt Thomas was lethal from long range. Let's hear from him now.
Just so much joy and excitement. You know, so much work has gone into this season, and through all the ups and downs, we really showed our character tonight. Starting off the game down 11-0, and then coming back and having this performance. It says a lot about our team and a lot about our leadership on this team.
What does it mean to play in an atmosphere like this one?
This is incredible. This has to be one of the best atmospheres in Europe. I'm just happy to be here, happy to be a part of it.
And now the season keeps going.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Thanks.
Congrats.
Appreciate it.
Well, Matt Thomas came up with some big buckets in his 19-point haul when they were down 11 points, 11 zip. He found his range from the short corner, burying three-pointers. And what a moment for Mike Tobey, who couldn't compete in that final 2 years ago because he was signed after the EuroCup deadline. Watched it from the stands as they went down to Unicaja Malaga. The energy and intensity that he brought, again, another crucial component of the victory that the team produced tonight.
And he's a double winner this week. Is his team Virginia, University of Virginia,
yes,
won the NCAA
indeed.
championship. He couldn't even watch it, so he's got himself his own little trophy. And You know, two numbers stick out for me huge here tonight, Ron. One is the number 63, which is the amount of points that Valencia was able to hold such a potent offense to. And the other one is 25, and that's the amount of assists that Valencia ended up with. And it just goes to show how well these guys know each other, the continuity offensively, and the way they look for each other, the unselfishness on the court. I talked about it before. Matt Thomas, we saw Matt Thomas fly off the bench when it was a 0-11 run, and Matt Thomas came flying off the bench. Great substitution, and he took over from there. But then you see him giving up, and that San Emeterio dunk. Please look at him. Oh, God. Nobody likes to get dunked on like that, especially when you're down 20.
But Matt Thomas finding his groove from long range. Absolutely sensational for his team tonight. 5 of 7 from downtown in a team high total of 19 points. And these the numbers. Valencia, after starting off stone cold, shooting really well from three-point territory.
Yeah, they shot well, and you could credit that to Matt Thomas coming out and just going on fire right out the bat, 3 for 3 to get things started.
So Rojas Giedraitis with a joint team high 19 points, but ultimately in vain. ALBA Berlin kept on competing, they kept on trying, but the shot simply not falling for them tonight. A modest 31% from three-point territory, 9 of 29 from downtown. They're the leaders in terms of points, rebounds, and assists. Bojan Dubljevic was absolutely sensational, coming away with player of the game honors. And all of these things combining to give Valencia Basket their 4th EuroCup championship, to extend their lofty record as the most successful team in the history of this competition. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll see you again very soon.
Seven days EuroCup in association with